Good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 7th session in our event series, Navigating the Next Golden Age of Events. Today, I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Dawn Larcombe and Claire Britcher of the British College of Aesthetic Medicine, or BCAM for short. BCAM is a long-standing client of Church House Westminster over many years, and in this interview, we'll explore how the association, which is also a not-for-profit registered charity, evolved their membership and events over the last 15 months to provide added value to their members. Welcome, Dawn and Claire. It's great to see you.
Thank you very much for having us.
You're welcome. First things first, I have to congratulate you because it's your 20th anniversary. What a milestone. How are you celebrating this year, and what have you got in the pipeline?
So we're really excited to be celebrating BCAM's 20th anniversary. BCAM is the only professional organisation in the UK that represents doctors and dentists practising aesthetic medicine. So reaching the 20-year anniversary is a huge milestone, and we plan to celebrate it throughout the year. We've worked with some of the founder members and our current members to create a new logo for BCAM. It's the first new logo in our history. And we've done our best to incorporate the organisation's past, but also our aspirations for the future. So we're really excited to be unveiling that on the 8th of July, when we will also launch a brand new website, which will be completely interactive. It will provide much more information and education for the public, because as a charity, we have a huge commitment to public education and also to raising standards within our own sector. So we're really excited about the website too. It will help members access their own accounts. They'll be able to book events. They'll be able to look at all their documentation, which is really important when they need to pull off information for appraisals. So we're really, really excited about the new website. And we've also had pin badges made that we're sending to all our members. They'll receive those just before the logo is unveiled. And we hope that they'll all wear those on their lapels with pride for the rest of the 20th anniversary year, and hopefully after that too.
Beyond. Yeah, I totally agree. That sounds really exciting. Lots in the pipeline. I wanted to ask you about your membership and your members. Can you tell us more about your membership numbers and how the membership model works, and what changes have you introduced recently?
Yeah, sure. So we have about 400 members, all of which are doctors and dentists practicing in aesthetic medicine. And you join as an associate member and become a full member after 2 years. We also do a student and graduate affiliate membership. So for people starting off in aesthetic medicine, we can help with their education and also support them with some mentorship and things like that. So that's really good. And then we've got a new exam actually that's just been launched, which will help associate members progress to full membership by doing that exam. And also it will be raising the standards to a gold standard within aesthetic medicine. So that's just been worked on. So that's just coming shortly for members.
That's really great. So in terms of membership benefits, there's really quite a lot on offer.
Yes, there is. I mean, we've talked about the founder members, and a lot of those members are still involved in BCAM now. So it's a real aesthetic community, and joining BCAM enables members to interact with others. It's quite an isolated profession sometimes. A lot of our members work on their own and don't have teams of people around them. So it's a real community to rely on for information, you know, sharing knowledge, and raising standards and education. So that is really, really important to us. We also, doctors need to have appraisals and revalidation. So appraisals every year, revalidation every 5 years. And that's a service that BCAM can provide to those who meet certain criteria. And that's really, really important. So that's one of the main reasons I think that a lot of doctors join us, and dentists too. We've allowed dentists to join in recent years, and we're planning some more recruitment campaigns to get more dentists on board, because they can also share in the community and rely on the information that we have that's really valuable and the education opportunities that we offer.
You mentioned that word community, and community building is so important. The actual lifespan of an event, as we know, is so short-lived. So compared to community engagement, which happens all year round, how have you provided learning, networking, and feedback opportunities to engage your communities of members, especially during the pandemic?
Well, we realised it was really important right from the beginning to stay in touch with members and keep them up to date with things. So one thing that we have revamped is our newsletter, which goes out fortnightly to our membership, which keeps them up to date with lots of things. Also, we have a Facebook private members group, so they can interact within that group in a safe space and talk about what's going on in the world. And at that time there was a lot going on, so we were trying to give them the correct information as we were getting it. So we actually sought some advice from a QC, and we were working closely with the Department of Health as well, so to make sure that they were provided with the correct information at every step of the way.
Yeah, it was such a confusing time for everyone, and everything was shifting and changing, that we recognised it was really important for us to provide the right information to our members, and they were calling on us really to provide that, weren't they, Dawn? The phones were ringing off the hook. So we felt it was worth investing in that professional advice to make sure we were giving them the right information.
And to make sure that we were leading with fact and not just opinions that were floating around out there. It was actual factual information that we were able to provide. And I think our members really appreciated that at that time.
Yeah. I think it's especially important if we cast our mind back to the last couple of months, and how the COVID regulations were constantly changing and uncertainty with everything. I mean, could you highlight some other things that you did to support your members through this challenging time?
Well, I think we recognised that it wasn't only their businesses and professional lives that were being impacted, but it was also their personal well-being. Through the appraisal process, there's a question about well-being, and our appraisers were noticing that the scores that doctors were giving were far lower than they had been in the past. So we decided we really needed to do something to support our members' well-being, as well as providing all the professional advice. So as a special 20th anniversary initiative, at the beginning of the year, we launched our Mindfulness and Wellbeing Initiative, and we scheduled lots of different lunchtime events that they could dip into with relaxation, with advice about how to switch off and relax. And all of this information has been uploaded into the members area of our website. So those who couldn't join us live have the opportunity to access that at any time they want. There's lots of information signposted as well. We worked with some real leading organisations in mindfulness and wellbeing, so that we were providing the very best level of information we could to our members. And we're continuing that throughout this year. It's a whole year initiative, because I think things are still changing. There's still an awful lot of pressure. A lot of our members have gone from closing their clinics, not working at all, to being busy and back in a very different environment. Many of them also returned to the NHS front line. I mean, our members are doctors, so they were doing what they know best, which is reacting to an emergency and stepping up. So there was a lot of pressure on them too. So we felt there was a real need to support them and help them in any way we could.
Great. So I know you've also, in terms of financial support and access to financial advice, and so you've supported your members all the way through. Could you highlight some of those initiatives that you had going?
So I think that the main thing was to seek the advice of a QC, to make sure that any information we provided was factual. And things did change with the government. In every sector you saw changes that were announced month on month, whether clinics were permitted to open, and we wanted to make sure that that information was absolutely correct. And that was all again uploaded to the members area of the website. So there was a huge COVID reference section on our website that members could refer to at any time. And we've received lots of compliments from members about the accuracy and the clarity of our information, where perhaps other bodies weren't being so helpful.
I guess having the information when you need it right at that time.
Absolutely.
Being punctual.
Yeah, I think being in close contact with the Department of Health and Social Care and, just keeping on the up-to-date information to our members is what they really, really appreciated at that time. So we've had some great feedback. And of course, just being there on the phone or via the email, chatting with them, listening to what they're going through. So just supporting in every way that we could really at that time.
Yeah, and we work very closely with the Department of Health and Social Care, and we kept in close contact with them throughout. And every time there was a change, we got in contact with them and they provided us with very specific information
Accurate,
for our members, which was so important because it was very easy to interpret what was being put out in very different ways. So that was why with the Department of Health and with the QC's advice, we knew that we were getting it absolutely right for our members and they could make informed decisions based on what we were telling them. So
And
it was
at that
such an
time,
insight.
It was changing weekly, wasn't it? It was hard to keep up with what was actually happening. So no wonder everyone was quite confused at that time.
Yeah, no wonder they need so much support, both with mental well-being and also with their professional, businesses.
Absolutely. And I think also, because you've mentioned community as well, when you have that knowledge sharing and that being talked about in those groups, they were actually helping other members to overcome obstacles and to sort of troubleshoot their issues, I suppose.
That's right. I think that's why we felt it was important to continue to organise events online throughout the year, even when members couldn't meet face to face, because there was an opportunity to share thoughts and just be mutually supportive. So we organised lots of other kind of coffee morning events as well, which Dawn's in charge of all of our events, so she can tell you a bit more about that. But we've tried to keep in touch with members as much as possible. As Dawn said, the fortnightly newsletter, we've really stepped up with that and provided much more information, but also some quite light-hearted bits as well. So it's just a good read every fortnight, and I think they've appreciated that too.
I think it is important to focus on the positives for this situation as well. We know we all learned a lot coming through this, but I think one of the success stories with this was with vaccinations, providing hope for so many. I know that BCAM put out a call to its members quite early on to sign up as COVID vaccinators. What was your response? What did you find? What did your members do?
Well, we actually had a fantastic response to that. I mean, as I've said earlier, a lot of our members returned to the NHS frontline anyway, and we're actually, tackling the pandemic right at the coalface. But others signed up to become vaccinators either through the NHS vaccination scheme or just contacted their local GP surgery and volunteered to take part. So there was a really good response. Many of our board members also volunteered as vaccinators locally. So that was they were great ambassadors for our call for everyone to sign up. And we had some really lovely stories coming back, some really heartwarming stories. I think it made people feel good that they could do something practical to help.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's turn our attention to your events. I know pre-COVID, we used to welcome BCAM to Church House Westminster every year, and you featured an action-packed conference. An action-packed conference and exhibition event. Then when the pandemic hit in March last year and the subsequent suspension of in-person events, that really had an impact on your events for 2020 and beyond. So first off, we're going to look at a video now that features your board trustee, Ruth Harker. So let's go to that and then we'll come back to this question.
Hello, it's Dr. Ruth Harker. I'm Finance Director of the British College of Aesthetic Medicine. And before lockdown, I was the Conference Director of BCAM for 6 years. We came to Church House Conference Centre for 6 years for the conference and for our meetings, and it was a wonderful time. The exquisite location and the wonderful architecture of the building, it couldn't be better. And we got a fantastic welcome from Vedrana and Sue, and the cuisine was first class. Bradley was excellent with the audio visuals, and top notch compared to where we had been previously. So I can't praise it highly enough, and I do hope that BCAM will continue its association with Church House Conference Centre for our meetings and our conferences. Obviously, life isn't the same post the COVID pandemic, but Church House Conference Centre seems to have found a new way of working, and I'm hoping that we can work with them.
That's brilliant. We definitely can't wait to continue working with you. So of course there's been new ways of doing things. So I mean, if we look back at when the pandemic first hit in 2019, how did it affect your events strategy, and how did you move through it to today and looking where we are today?
Well, it hit very hard because obviously at first was that what we're going to do. You know, we're so used to coming to Church House and we love coming here. So one of the big decisions that we had to make was, do we actually still hold a conference for our members this year or don't we? So very quickly we decided that because of what was going on, and as I said to you earlier, the support we wanted to give to our members, we wanted to give these guys something back at that time. So we decided to hold online virtual events, which was for 6 days. So it was quite a long event.
I mean, if I can just come in here, normally your event is?
For a day.
For a day. And so in terms of participation numbers?
We had 300 plus delegates, so we had a really good response and we had some great feedback afterwards. It was a learning curve and it was something that we'd never done before. I believe we were the first association in our sector to be able to do a virtual online conference. So it was...
Another first.
Yeah, exactly. It was something different, it was new, it was challenging, but it went really, really well and something we're quite proud of to have put together in such a short space of time.
It also gave members the opportunity again to just connect. You know, after such a long period of being alone at home, not having clinics open, it was a whole week of being able to dip in and connect with some familiar faces, which was really valuable.
Absolutely. And so coming back to this year, what is in the pipeline?
So sadly, this year we've decided to hold another virtual online conference. Just because, as we're a charity, we just felt that the financial risk was just too great to do an in-person event so soon. And also, a lot of our members are across all of the UK, including Scotland, Ireland, the Channel Islands. So for travelling into central London could have been a problem, again, if certain regions were in lockdown at that time. We just didn't want to take that risk. And with our members as well, opening their clinics recently, they're going to be very busy. Would they be able to take a day out to come and attend an event in London? So we made that decision. It was difficult because we want nothing more than to come back and have an in-person conference. So those are our plans for this year. But it won't be a 6-day event. It will be a 2-day event.
Brilliant. But it still supplies you with lots of on-demand content and things that will sit on your website that you know, your members can dip into as and when.
I think that's the important thing, isn't it? And
Yes,
that's what we've really considered, that it allows members to view all the content on demand. We're told it's called Netflixification of events.
That's the word.
So yeah, absolutely. It gives them that flexibility to dip in when they can, because clinics are busy, and obviously business has to be a priority after clinics have been closed for so long.
Absolutely. So now, looking forward to the future, what are your views on how associations can prosper and thrive in an increasingly competitive world?
I think it's trying to find a mix, if I'm being honest. I'd like to think that we're able to do an in-person event again, maybe in springtime when things have calmed down. So we certainly like to return back to Church House for that event. And as I said, well, as Claire said earlier, we've been providing coffee mornings and brunches all online for members, which has been quite a success. So I think we'll continue to do that. So actually, getting the best of both worlds, that's ideally how BCAM would like to do that for their members, so that members get the opportunity, if they want to meet, they can, but also if they don't feel ready for that, then there is that online events to take part in.
Presence, absolutely.
Yeah, we're also pressing ahead with our online our international memberships for this year. So we are developing a relationship with the UIME, which is an international organisation of bodies that represent aesthetic doctors across the world. There are more than 30 countries involved, and we're just signing a memorandum of understanding with them. So we hope to have lots more international members in future. And as I said earlier, we're working on recruiting more dentists to our membership because we really want to professionalise aesthetic medicine in the UK. We would like to establish it as a specialty in its own right. Our doctors work at the very highest level. Our new exam will be the gold standard for aesthetic medicine in the UK. So we want to build and grow, especially in our 20th anniversary year. You know, it's such a momentous occasion. It's incredible. It started from such humble beginnings, and still having the founders on board shows it certainly has a lot of longevity.
Absolutely.
So we just want to build on that even more.
That sounds so exciting. I have to say, thank you both so much for your candid views and your insightful feedback. I think you've provided for many of us an insight into how, associations were challenged recently with the pandemic, and how you use that to your advantage, and like you said, to grow, and you're looking at these future projects that will allow you to establish yourself even more securely. So thank you for your contributions, which has been amazing. And of course, to everyone who has joined us this morning, the recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel shortly, which means that you'll be able to watch the conversation back, as well as all our other sessions if you've missed those. Have a great day, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.